How do you like this? It's all new. We moved. At some point, if you're interested, I would be happy to do a little studio tour. That would be fun, I think. I have a lot of work to do in here still, but I really like the space. It's a beautiful space. There's good light and there's enough space for everything I want to do, so that's good. Enough rambling. Today, I will be talking about color charts. As an artist, I feel like color is everything for a lot of people, and I've never really explored color, as weird as it may sound. I've always kind of bought colors that I liked on a whim without necessarily thinking about it too much, and I never really bothered mixing. I guess I was afraid of mixing, maybe, because it sounds complicated. You never really know what you're gonna get if you never really studied the pigments. And also I feel like artists, well-known artists, are known for their specific palettes. Their palette is, in a way, their language and their signature. It gives a mood to their works of art, and that's something I'm very interested in right now. In that same vein, I feel like you don't need 500 colors or tubes of colors to get your own signature palette. It's mainly a few basic primary colors that you will mix together to get what you truly want, and that's what I'm on a quest for. So I've decided to do a massive research on primary colors. I went to the art supply store and I got a whole bunch of blue, yellow, and reds, like a lot of them, which I don't necessarily advise you to do because it's very expensive, but for the sake of experiment and knowledge, I did it. And I've also bought a nice book that I'm using as my color sample book, color chart book. So if I wasn't clear, basically I'm looking for my signature palette, colors that I'm very drawn to at the moment, but I want to mix them from scratch. So I want to know which yellow goes with what red to give the perfect orange that I like at this moment. So my point at the end of this is not to have a million colors, it's the opposite. It's actually to get the least possible tubes that will be used to mix all those other colors, purples, greens, browns, and so on. There are so many ways you can do this, but this is how I did it. One page was focusing on one color, and I also wanted to use one space for white because pinks are important, and one space with black as a way to dull down the colors. I know that a lot of people say not to use black. If you want to get a more muted green, for instance, you're supposed to use yellow and blue to get your green, and if you want more muted, you add a little red. That's how you get it. But I like the idea of black, and I've just decided to do it. We've got reds against yellows, and this obviously will give a bunch of oranges along with my pinks and a burgundy color. So the first page was oranges, basically. The second page was purple, so I've got my reds here and my blues here. You might think that it's kind of silly that I have two sets of pink, but what I did actually was that on the first sheet I put a lot more white or just a little tiny bit of red to get the lighter pinks, and on the second sheet I wanted to see what I would get with the darker pinks. And lastly, I was looking at the greens. I'm not finished, but I'm planning on finishing it today. So in the greens, what was more interesting to me as when it comes to white was the light blues as opposed to light yellow. Do you know what I mean? So obviously I've noted the name of each pigment that I was using so that at the end I can go back, look at my chart and see what is interesting to me. Do I like this orange here versus a more muted orange here? And if you notice, some pigments are very opaque and other ones are transparent, and that's also something to consider. And also a lot of them look very similar, so that's another point to consider. I feel like it's very telling. You see how different these shades can be from this green to this green just because the yellow is not the same. So what I'm noticing is that I can like a color by itself. Maybe this blue, let's say, is not that interesting to me overall, even though the blue by itself I kind of like, whereas another blue that would be pretty close to it would give what I want when it comes to greens and purples and so on. So that's how I did it. My goal is to analyze my chart at the very end and be like, oh, okay, I like this red, this yellow, this blue, and this is where I'll start my basic palette. Not to say that I'll never ever use the other pigments, obviously I will use them, but I want to know what I'm doing basically, and also in the future not have to guess at what kind of red does what when it's mixed with a certain yellow. So this way in the long term you save time, you save money, and you focus on making the art, and you don't get frustrated because you get a muted orange when you wanted like a really bright pumpkin orange, you know what I mean? I'm sure you understand. And the reason I don't want to buy the pre-mixed colors is just because it's more convenient to have a limited kit. I'm bothered by having so many tubes everywhere. I'd rather have something more minimalistic and know more about color theory than having too much. I'm really excited about this. I think I'm gonna learn a lot by doing it and by observing and taking notes and realizing what I truly like and what I'm looking for, because I never really paused to think about colors that much before, and I'm really interested in going further in that vein, because when you look at a work of art, color is emotion a lot of the time. So I want to fine-tune all of those things. And I plan on filling this book, obviously. I'm going to use it not only for primary colors, but also for different textures. There's different mediums that you can use, like crackling medium and other mediums that give different effects. So I'm gonna use this book to sample them and try things out and see what works for me. So I hope you like this. You may have your own way of doing color charts. You can give me ideas in the comment section, because I'm always interested to learn more, obviously. More. I plan on making more oil pastel tutorials. I have a few in the works right now. You can add me on Instagram. You can add me on Snapchat. I haven't snapped that much, but I'm a very big Snapchat fan. So if I see that I'm getting a bunch of people adding me on Snapchat, I promise that I will do regular stories. So here's my handle. Pretty much everywhere it's Syndia Montreal. Let's connect there. Anyways, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Stay inspired. I'm sending you good vibes, and I'll see you very soon in another one. As a final thought, if you are curious, I'm going to play around with the colors some more and see what I like, see what's important to me, see what I want to include in my palette. And if you're interested, I could do a follow-up video to this with the choices I made, what my ultimate palette is. Let me know if that's something you would like to see.